COVID-19 hit everyone like a ton of bricks. Every industry suffered. No family left untouched by the tragedy and panic of what happened. This was especially true for creatives. I myself struggled to find work during a time when no one but the biggest budgeted productions could even afford to take the precautions necessary to be on set, let alone needing a low-level local videographer. The same was true for stand-up comedians and actors. So when the dust settled and people were allowed to re-emerge from their homes and reintegrate into society, the fire was burning for entertainment and adventure. Fourth Wall Players is a small acting troupe in Indianapolis, Indiana, with only a handful of members. When I first met Josh Gibson in 7th grade, it was during a production of The Maltese Falcon, and we got along well. I first became involved with the troupe well after high school during the 2014 production of Frankenstein, which was being performed at our hometown high school where we all went to school. I came on as a producer, filled in on the role of Felix DeLacy on stage, and helped construct some of the props we used. Josh and I have been working together ever since. The end of COVID felt like the gunshot at the start of a great race, and to Fourth Wall Players, putting on another show was the finish line. So after almost 5 years of silence, Fourth Wall Players was ready to take the stage again.
Alan Keith, Becca Bartley, and myself first wrote Frankenstein back in 2000, probably started the end of 2011, had it done probably March of 2012. So the first year that Frankenstein was performed was 2012. We actually had kind of a make or break kind of test performance first in early August, and then we fiddled around and did a couple of edits, and we redid it October, like around Halloween. I was Victor Frankenstein, the star of the show, 95%. I had to write in a scene just so I could be off stage for 2 minutes.
The first year that I was directly involved in Frankenstein would have been 2014, the 2014 production, which was the second time around for some of them doing the show. That production of Frankenstein was interesting because of the fact that we actually were able to put it on a high school stage. We utilized a high school stage in Kokomo. The other stages we've used have been like community theater sort of buildings for specifically for theater as opposed to a high school stage. This production, I had kind of 3 roles, you could say. I played the part of Justine, who was the servant of the Frankenstein family. I was also, once again, the costumer and the props mistress, making some of the props by hand, finding others at thrift stores, etc.
My name is Zach Moore, and I am playing the creature.
My name is Kit Morgan. I am playing Victor Frankenstein.
My name is Kristen Flowers. I'm playing Elizabeth.
My name is Andrew Gibson. I'll be playing the role of Henry Clark Clairvaux.
My name is Erin Sutton. I'm playing Mother Frankenstein.
My name is Tyler. I am playing William.
My name is Spike Wilson. I'm the director. Slow your rate of speech down a little bit. And that's honestly just a purely practical words per minute sort of slowdown. I'm talking about just in general.
Of course. All right. You ready, Freddie?
I am.
My dear cousin, I cannot describe to you the uneasiness that we have all felt concerning your health and long absence from us, both inward and in person. I think Clairvaux conceals the extent of your affliction, for your letters are always dictated through him, and it has been months since we've seen your own handwriting. Your mother believes you to be dangerously ill, and I now have guilt for allowing Clairvaux to convince me to remain here. Victor, we're all very miserable on this account, and if you should write us and relieve us of this anxiety, we shall be the happiest creatures in the world. Your mother's health is stable, and other than her concern for you, she is well.
Yeah, that was 200% better, yeah.
Great, thank you. I have a question.
Oh! Yeah.
Where are they standing?
Where?
Where are Henry and Victor standing?
Well, I think the one desk is over on this side.
Yeah, he's in Ingolstadt, so it's actually going to be over here. You're going to be over here.
Okay, so I was thinking at the point when she goes, I read myself in better spirits, but I was too terribly overthinking me. I cannot conclude without again anxiously inquiring your health. Right? I cannot conclude again anxiously inquiring your health. And then I'm like, dear Victor. But I'm like looking at him, but not really. I'm like looking towards him where they are. Yeah.
I like that because...
You're not very ill. And he's like standing and like he can see me like saying this to him, but he cannot reach me.
Right. I like.
And I'm like, you're not very ill.
Yeah.
Please hurt yourself.
It's very similar to the moment where, right before he created the creature.
So this show went well. It actually surprisingly went well after some of the chaos that happened during Tech Week. Our guest director actually had gotten sick during dress rehearsal. He also was the lighting and sound guy, and so we lost him right before the show. Thankfully, as I said earlier, Katie Withers, who was part of our production team, valiantly stepped up. I was able to program the sound, and she ran the sound, and we didn't get time to do the lights, but we just had kind of up and down, and she ran that as well. So that was cool. We got it filmed successfully for the first time by the amazingly talented Kelly McKinney, and sorry, I got off base there.
He was like, I was looking at a video of like she was growling at it and like, it's not a real cat.
Yeah, so I mean, there was some stressors. I mean, getting the set done in time was kind of a stressor, getting costumes and props all put together. The one thing that was amazing about it, and this is much kudos to Spike, I don't feel like we ever had an issue with any of the acting. And that's a lot of them too. But it was one of the very few shows I've ever been in that we went into Tech Week, and I didn't feel like we had to do a lot of makeup rehearsals for the actors.
So, what you want to focus on is how the story's put together, what leads to what leads to what, and the connection between the characters.
Yeah.
So whenever you can, during your first off-book run, you want to try to establish and maintain eye contact. Exactly, yeah, you know this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like in some ways this production had both ends of the spectrum. We had a lot of the stress down at the wire with difficult tech rehearsals and trying to fix things last minute. There were some issues with a particular prop that ended up having to be fixed multiple times. And at the same time, on the other end of the spectrum, I feel like certain things went so much better this time around. There were certain aspects that really came together during the weeks of rehearsal and the weeks of preparation leading up to Tech Week that made it feel like going into Tech Week, even those stresses couldn't derail the production.
I'm finishing up some last minute fixes on the costumes. I had a snap that malfunctioned when I was attaching it, so I have to put some Velcro on there instead.
Gotcha.
And we've got the breakaway prop sword here that has caused tons of headaches, but I think it'll look really cool on stage. So, ended up going with some magnets to try and hold it together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, bitch! Magnets! Oh!
Yeah. However, the magnets are maybe not quite strong enough, so we're also going to use packing tape. So, because it wants to fall apart.
That was a great idea.
It was one of those, it came to me 5 seconds before falling asleep one night after the popsicle stick idea wasn't going to work because we were going to put too many holes in the styrofoam by sticking a popsicle stick in the middle.
Right.
Too many holes in the styrofoam, it's not going to stay put.
Right.
So it was one of those last minute, before falling asleep sort of ideas.
Yeah, it's hard to know how strong the magnets are going to be.
And I mean, I just thought, well, gee, styrofoam's not that heavy, but it was heavier than I expected, so the magnets aren't quite strong enough.
This production of the play was most different because we had so many people working behind the scenes. Previously, it had been myself and or Alan just kind of directing and producing and stage managing and everything underlined in between, while everybody else was, focusing on acting, which, is what actors do, and then, maybe they'd pick up, get props or help with costumes, things of that nature. But this one, we actually had probably about 6 or 7 people helping backstage, and, we ran like a donation campaign, so we had a little bit more of a budget. We actually had a set for the first time for this show, so that was very exciting.
As opposed to just furniture?
Yes, as opposed to just furniture. It was still the same furniture, though.
So this is where the magic happens. Got ourselves our set, basically, right now. We don't have the bits to stand it up yet, but this is actually muslin. It's a type of fabric that you can use to shine the lights on and whatnot. This is going to be basically the interior of the Frankenstein mansion. Unfortunately, we'll have to have the same set for the entire show, but hopefully this is kind of vague and suggestive enough that it makes sense. We have kind of our little windows on a couple of these. There's actually I don't know where the other one is with the window on it, but there should be a second one that has the windows on it like this, which we just kept the muslin blank. That way we're going to be using like lighting and stuff, different colored lighting to kind of set different moods for different seasons. So I'm really proud of it.
I think our most successful year, ticket sales wise, was probably our original couple of runs. We had extra shows, it was at a popular venue, so we had a built-in audience already ready to go. Probably though, as a group, I would say our most successful run was this latest one. It was our first time back in 8 years, and we kind of came out of the gate swinging. Had a lot more people involved on the production side than on the acting side, and I think as a group it really helped legitimize us and get us to a higher level.
Oh, I like that. That's pretty. Mine's the shining.
The best thing about the Fonseca Theater venue, I feel like, especially for Frankenstein, it kind of had the right energy or ambiance or whatever you want to call it. It kind of had that industrial look to it. Yes, it was a small stage, but we also wrote for a small cast, and even then, sometimes we were kind of tripping over each other to get around. But I think Frankenstein, the way we wrote it, is so intimate with how the characters are portrayed. It's just good that the audience feels like they can reach out and be part of the scene.
No more distractions. I'm out here with this bike. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure the door was properly locked since no one was out there except Tyler.
I feel like this production was the most different because of some of the things that went into it beforehand, in that this time around we had fundraisers, we had a budget, we had a set and someone who knows how to build sets. I had costumes in storage from the last time we produced the show and was therefore able to reuse some costume pieces and adapt others. The best thing about the Fonseca venue for Frankenstein is it had just enough space to tell the story. The stage was not so big that we were floundering and getting lost on it. The seating arrangement for the audience made it feel like there was a full house, even if there were only a few people in the audience because of the way the seating was arranged.
Hey, what's up, honey?
Got me while I got eyelashes in my eye.
Don't do that.
You're gonna out me on not being able to do this correctly.
Yeah, we all thought you could, so this will be a big scandal.
The mob top that was wearing over my hair. Care to share with the class? Yeah, I know some of these words.
Does it?
Yeah.